Alright guys, so as the video title has indicated, I've switched over to the Eachine EV300O goggles, and for a lot of good reasons. I have been using the SkyZone Sky 030 goggles for the last year, so maybe a little bit more than a year. I switched over to these goggles, and I've tried a lot of goggles in the last year. As you know, I review a lot of goggles, I get a lot of stuff, and I haven't decided to switch from these until now. I have tried, of course, the HDO2s with rapid fire, of course, like everyone else, but I didn't switch to those, and I just use this for basically for testing the rapid fire module. I think I'm probably just gonna sell these off because I don't use the goggles at all because I cannot focus on the image on the HDO2s, and that's the main reason why I never switched these. So as you guys know, I flew the Dominator V3s for the longest time, probably like a year and a half, and I had less issues with that one. I still had focus problems with that one, but it was not as apparent because the field of view on that goggle was much smaller than on the HDO2s. So on the HDO2s, because I can't get this to fit my face properly because it has only a single faceplate for narrow faces, and I have a very wide face, so I cannot get my eyes close enough to the lenses of the goggles in this particular one here, so the image is always blurry. So because the field of view is so wide on these, I think it's like 46 or 48 degrees, I can only see about half of the screen, about 50% in the center is in focus, and then everything on the outside edge, the other 50% on the outside, is out of focus and blurry. And it doesn't matter what I do. I've tried all kinds of mods and stuff to get the image to focus, but I can't fly through these. I can fly through them, but not very well, and it's definitely no fun. So I just use this for testing the rapid fire module, comparing it to other receivers out there. But on the Eachine EV300Os, I have no problems focusing on this screen, and the screens are the same as in the SkyZone Sky 030 goggles. 1024 by 768. It's a 4:3 screen, OLED. It's the exact same screen, the exact same panel. And so don't ask me how I know this. I can't tell you that these are actually made by SkyZone. I'm sure a lot of people are speculating on that. Pretty sure that these are, but if you ask anyone at SkyZone, they're probably going to deny it. I think it's because they have some sort of contract with Eachine in terms of like a non-disclosure agreement, so they can't confirm or deny anything. But if you just look at the two goggles and just compare the color, the finish, the construction, I mean everything, they just look so similar. And obviously I just happen to get the same sort of red color here. The Sky Zones are a little faded now because they're a year older. The red color on the Eachine is a little bit darker red. It's a little hard to see in the camera, but yeah, it's a slight color variation, but it's got the same glossy finish. It's a fingerprint magnet, of course, and the construction is everything the same. And then also, they come with two faceplates. So they come with a wider faceplate, which is the one I'm using. They both come with the wider one, and a narrower one, which is similar to the ones on the Fat Shark. So yeah, I think that's a design flaw with the Fat Shark. They have designed their goggles so that only the narrow faceplate will fit. So you can't put a wider faceplate on here unless you redesign the shell, which maybe I'll do for the next version. So if you have a wide face, I'm sure those of you guys that do understand this. You can't use the Fat Sharks with the narrow faceplate. Anyway, so the reason I think that these are SkyZones is, well, obviously the fit and finish, the way it's constructed. If you turn it on, look at the menus. The menu looks very similar, if not the same, to the SkyZones. But they have changed the interface, of course. So basically, it's a very clean interface. They have a roller dial on both sides here, and they're push button, and they work very well. They're clickable. And you get two buttons here. So to bring up the system menu, you just press this button here on the right twice. Brings up the system menu. You can select using the scroll wheel, and then, select or move up and down using the scroll wheel, and then select pressing down on the scroll wheel. So they'll let you select the various menu items, and then on this side, this operates the DVR. The left button here, press it once to bring up the DVR menu, and press it again to start your video recordings. And then when you're done, press it again to stop your video recordings. And then if you press the scroll wheel on the left here, that brings up the mode menu, and that's the different same modes like RF racing, RF normal. That's on the Sky Zone. So that's why, like I said, this is pretty much a Sky Zone product, rebadged under the Eachine brand name. Now, getting back to the reason why I can see better with these is they have the same sort of I don't know what you would call this, the way the optics work in terms of the diopter, the built-in diopter, and the IPD adjustments. Very similar to the way the Fat Sharks work. You can slide the diopter back and forth like so, and then you can use this dial here to adjust your focus. And the focus is adjustable from a -6 to a +6, so it's a very wide range on this one. I think the Fat Sharks is a +2 to a -6. So I can get pretty much exactly the same focus, exactly the focus I want. So the image is very sharp all around, the center and to the edges. And the field of view in this one is considerably smaller, which is actually better for me. Some people may disagree with that, but for me, I prefer a smaller field of view versus a gigantic field of view that requires me to move my eyes around to see the whole field of view. So this one here is coming, I think, their spec is saying 38 degrees field of view, and I think the Fat Sharks are 46. So it's not tiny. It's not, you're not looking at a postage stamp for sure. It's decent. I mean, it's actually, the field of view is actually larger on the Eachines versus the Sky Zone O3Os. I think these are like around 34 degrees. So I have, again, no issues with focusing on this one. Although I do have to use the diopters, the Fat Shark diopters in this one, and I can only use -6 for both eyes. My eyes are around -6, so I think my right eye is around -6, and then my left eye is around -6.5. So, I have to max them. Basically, I have to go to the max setting on the negative side for this goggle on the diopter focus adjustment, and I can get a nice clear image. Now, the last reason I think is pretty obvious is that they're using the Rapidmix module on this one. This is basically like a rapid fire clone, I guess. It's not really a clone because there's no screen or anything on this one, but they're kind of using the same technology. I'm not sure if they're using the exact same chipset, because I know that, like, I think the TBS version is also using the same chipset as the rapid fire. So this might be, because it has the same sort of issues where when the video goes out of sync, you get that, like, the rolling video. When you have the same problems as you do on the rapid fire, on this module, it performs in the exact same way. So, that kind of, it kind of tells you that maybe they're using the same chipset. Of course, the firmware is different, and the way that they construct the image is different. So, and also the way that the image is recorded and seen on the lenses are going to be different from the Fat Shark, and it's all this stuff is totally subjective. So, you may or may not like it. You're going to have to basically try them out to see for yourself. I'm just sort of giving you my perspective on, the reasons why I decided to go ahead and switch to these. So, again, Rapidmix module, you have the ability to add a second one to the other side over here, which is right now currently empty. I do have another one coming, and I've decided to use these long micro lollipop antennas here, and I'm going to actually getting a second set of these. So I'm going to have 4 of them, and I'll have a video later. We'll see how the performance is. I mean, I like this setup because I can just put this in my bag like this. It's nice and compact. And I just roll this one up and then bend this up. And then I can just bend this one out. And I get really nice coverage because the antenna is far away from my head. And then when I want to put it back in my bag, I just bend that back, roll this down, and bend that in. So, and I'm going to obviously do the same thing for the other side. And if you're wondering about this wire, I did ask Fox here, and they said that you can bend this wire coax as much as you want, and it's going to hold its shape and continue to perform just fine. So I'm just going to keep on using it like this. Just going to put another Rapidmix module here on the other side, and 2 more lollipop 15 centimeter antennas on the other side and see if that improves performance at all. I don't know. That's going to be a topic for another video. But yeah, the performance on this is definitely better in this setup here than on my SkyZone goggles. The internal receiver on this one is okay. You know, it's for a diversity receiver, it's decent. It's definitely not the best, and definitely not anywhere near as good as Rapidfire. But this one is, the one on here is fairly close. I mean, it's debatable, and some situations it's better, and some situations it's not as good. Hard to really pinpoint exactly where the differences are. I think it comes down to firmware and the way that they've sort of prioritized certain types of signals versus others. But you know, and overall, I think that in like tough environments, like I think I did a test earlier in a parking garage, we have a lot of reflections. This performed fairly comparably to the Rapidfire. Now the DVRs are different, so I think you guys noticed that the DVRs were different because the DVR on the Fat Shark is pretty crappy. You get very poor color reproduction, the better color reproduction on the DVR here. And this, by the way, is the same DVR that's on the SkyZone goggles. So it's the H.264 DVR, 30 megabits per second is the bit rate. So it's a high quality DVR on this one versus the pretty trashy, crappy DVR on the Fat Shark. So that's another plus for the Eachine EV300O goggles. Okay, a few last things I want to mention. The fan noise on here is pretty good. It's actually better than both these other two goggles. Even on the max setting, I think they're using an updated fan on this one, so it's very quiet and it performs really well. And the air vents are right here where you need them. So the air only goes right on the lenses, and I only feel the air if I turn the fan speed up to the maximum setting. Then I can feel it on my eyes. But about the middle setting, you can't hear the fan, and the performance in terms of the defogging is really good on this particular goggle, much better than on the Fat Shark or the SkyZone. So they've done a really nice job on at least the design for the defogging fan. Now the the goggle strap here is not the one that's included with the goggles. This is a third-party one. I got this from Race Quads. It's a fat strap goggle strap. I will put this, I'll link this in the description. This is obviously made for like an 18650 case. So this little G&B 2S 3000 milliamp hour goggle battery just is a little bit too small. You could definitely put a bigger battery in here. So there is a case for like the Eachine, I think the EV200Ds or 300Ds. I forget the one that came out before this one. This one, for whatever reason, didn't include that 18650 case. Maybe mine, because this is like a pre-production sample, so maybe mine didn't include because of that reason. I don't know if the production ones will have that or not. So in case that they don't, I'll link the battery case in the description as well. You can get that separately, but this will fit in here pretty nicely. And I like this setup here better because it has like this little bottom part that'll prevent the battery from slipping out in case you I've had that problem with a lot of other goggle straps. So this is a pretty nice goggle strap. I would highly recommend it. Of course, it just plugs in the bottom here like so. Nothing fancy there, but I do like this goggle strap. Nice and has a wide here in the back, so it holds very well on my head. The only really negative thing about this goggle is the fact that it's a little bit bigger than the SkyZones and a little bit heavier. That I don't like so much, which is why I switched to the bigger battery, or sorry, the bigger goggle strap. And this helps definitely keep it on my head better. With the stock goggle strap, with the everything on here, it was kind of slipping off my face a little because it is a bit on the heavier side. So something to be aware of. You will probably want to upgrade the goggle strap at some point. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for this video. I just wanted to let you guys know that I am using this as my daily driver goggle. And I'm probably it's going to be the case for a while now. I usually don't switch goggles often, so I will be doing obviously more testing in a future video on a secondary Rapidmix module. And oh, I totally forgot. There's one other con, and that has to do with the DVR on this one. Like I said, it's the same DVR as on the SkyZones, but unlike the SkyZones, I was having frame drop issues on this DVR. So they told me that they were going to fix that, and I'm still waiting for that firmware update. But the firmware updates on this are fairly simple to do. You just have to put, the micro SD card in and follow the procedure. You have to go into the menu and do the firmware update. I've done that before on the Sky Zones. It's the same procedure. So I'm assuming that's going to be fixed. It's the same sort of frame drop problem that was on the Fat Shark DVR, but they fixed that as well. So it's not a huge problem. It happens occasionally, and you probably have seen some frame drops in my analog reviews on or drones that have analog video, which I've been using over the past month. So, it's not a big deal. It does happen maybe like out of a 3-minute video, maybe 4 or 5 frames might get dropped over a 3-minute video. And it's random. It has nothing to do with the signal strength of the video, so it's kind of strange. Anyway, I did want to let you know that is still an issue, at least on mine. I don't know if that's going to get fixed anytime soon, so maybe you may want to factor that into your decision whether or not you want to get this. Maybe wait until that's actually fixed. But other than that, really, I have nothing to complain about. That's why I decided to switch to these goggles and use them as my daily driver, because I'm pretty happy with the performance and everything, and the fact that the optics are different on this one, and I can adjust basically each eye separately, and the way the adjustments work with the built-in diopters. That is basically the main reason why I decided to switch, because I got a bigger field of view, a much sharper image, and the overall experience has been very positive for me. That's why I decided to switch. Anyway, rambling on now, so I'll end this video. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.